Aries, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back to those of you who have been here before, and welcome and thank you very much for those of you who've come over to see what it's all about. My name's Colette. I am a tarot reader with over 30 years experience, and the reading that I'm doing today is for Aries, Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising, and also cusp Aries as well, I'm being reminded. So this reading is also for cross watchers as well. It's a general Aries reading, but if you are a cross watcher, just be aware that the energies themselves, could actually be swapped over, in the sense that you could be actually listening to your own story rather than listening to the person who you think that you're watching for. So just bear that in mind. For you Aries as well, you may want to check out your moon sign, your Venus sign and your rising sign, which I will be putting out over the next few weeks. So just come back and check them out as I do them as well, because you will help to get a bigger picture as well. If you don't feel as though this is your story, you may find that it's somewhere else. Your rising sign might be more dominant at the moment. Talking of dominant Aries, you have a lot of energy in your chart right now. A lot of stuff happening. Just had the new moon take place on the 12th, and you have got Venus and the Sun and Chiron and Mercury and Eris all sitting in the sign of Aries. So there's a lot of firing up energy happening at this time. So with that being said, I took a card from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, and you got this card here, which is the Lizard Spirit, and it says dream the world into being. And before I forget, as I was doing my meditation on the cards, I got very strongly, I could hear this conversation, but it sounded like a conversation that you were having with yourself, Aries, and it was saying stop being so controlling, or stop controlling was the first two words I got. Stop controlling. And then I heard you kind of saying it to yourself, like, yeah, stop being so controlling. It was like you were kind of realizing something about controlling, over controlling a situation maybe. And the Lizard Spirit speaks about kind of taking that backward step. It's kind of saying that the more you try to make something happen the way you want it to, the more it's going to turn out in a different way if it's not meant to happen that way. So the Lizard Spirit is saying take a backward step. Lizards like bask in the sun, they relax, they give themselves time to imagine the world into being, which is basically what the dream the world into being is saying. It's saying relax and allow yourself more time to just daydream is what's coming through. Just daydream a bit. Take a step back. Stop trying to make something happen the way that you so desperately want it to happen, is how I'm feeling for you, Aries. It's like there's something that you really, really want, but it's actually causing you more anxiety and stress because of it. And so the Lizard Spirit is saying that if you just give yourself that space and that time to just step back from it and allow things to come together, even, rather than just like being so headstrong is the words that are coming through about it, and really very determined to do it how you want to. It's actually kind of backfiring is how I'm feeling. So I don't know if that's a message for a particular Aries, or whether there's a lot of you out there at this time, because as I was saying, there's a lot of energy happening in your chart. So you may well be feeling really fired up and you've got to have things like this or else type of energy. But if that's the case, the Lizard Spirit is saying just take a step back. So the cards have been set out, before I forget, in 3 sets of 3. So the first 3 are your past. That past could be quite recent, it could be something that happened in your childhood, whatever age. It could still be affecting you now, or it may come back into affecting you, a situation that you're having to focus on or deal with or face up to now. Especially with Chiron in Aries as well, there's a lot of kind of looking at old wounds, shall we say, that need to be released, healed and released. So there could be a lot of that going on for you, Aries, as well. And the middle three cards are your present energy. The very center card is the card that for me holds the most energy, because I see it as the kind of central point of where all the rest of the energy is kind of emanating from, shall we say, at this time. And then the last three cards are what you're going to be moving into, the energy. So it's like your past creating your present, which is going to create your future. But it doesn't have to be a definite, nothing is ever written in complete stone. Anything can be changed, because we do have the free will to be able to do that as well. And also if we have the understanding and the knowledge of that free will, we can make decisions that we otherwise may not have made. So the Temperance card here is the first energy that's come out, and I'm seeing this as although this is just a general read, I do see this as a relationship card at this time. There's a lot of focus, as I was saying, on this fire energy, and there is this kind of heart energy here as well. Temperance kind of represents that relationship of the heart. It doesn't necessarily have to be an intimate relationship, it can be a relationship with yourself as well. Her wings are very heart-shaped as well in this particular card. So it feels as though there's something that you were putting a lot of your time and your energy and your effort into, and you were trying to keep it balanced. You've got fire at the top and water down the bottom here. And there was a kind of balance of like emotional and creativity, putting a lot of yourself into this is how it feels. But then you have the Chariot straight after that, which is saying that something happened which kind of blocked the energy here. Something stopped moving, it stopped flowing. That's another thing with the Temperance card, is that in order for things to move, you need to, for me, I always see it as a kind of keeping a relationship flowing, conversation, backwards and forwards. Like if one person doesn't communicate as much as the other person, then there's a blockage, there's a stagnation, things don't flow. There has to be an equal give and take, there has to be an equal understanding. And it feels as though something kind of blocked this. So the Chariot, the moving forward, the kind of energy of driving something forward, had kind of reached an impasse. It's like it stopped moving forward. You feel maybe that you were no longer in the driver's seat, that something else possibly had taken control or taken over, or maybe you were trying too hard. As I was saying earlier, maybe this is that card that was saying that you were too controlling, you tried to control it too much. Because I often think that with these two horses, it kind of represents, and I'm feeling like this, there is quite a strong need for something of balance here. Because with these two horses, you have to, if one horse goes in that direction, another horse goes in that direction, you're going to be stuck, because you can't go in both directions at once. It's kind of saying, like, you know, you need that middle path. You need to be able to kind of keep it all together, not to go to one extreme or the other. Which is also what I feel that this card is saying as well, that to start with there was a kind of equilibrium and a balance, but then something completely kind of put the block on that. I think it's like chocked the wheels is what I've just heard, like something kind of like literally like you're going along and all of a sudden the wheels are just kind of boof, stopped. And the card you have after this is the Ten of Cups in reverse. So whatever it was that was being created here, whatever it was that was being that was driving you, it was like this, whatever this happiness was, whatever you were reaching for with this happiness, I feel as though it just kind of evaded you, it kind of slipped away from you. Because the Ten of Cups in reverse talks about something that, whatever it was that you are wanting, you're not getting it, you're not seeing it, you're not experiencing it. So you feel as though you're in this place of unhappiness. Of like having had that happiness, and then because it's seeing like this cross going through here, almost like it's been closed off to you, is how it's coming through for me here. And then the first card for you as you move into your future, sorry, your present energy, is the Nine of Swords in reverse. And I get the feeling, Aries, that this has something to do with that controlling energy that I was speaking about at the beginning, that I was told of at the beginning, this controlling, that you're kind of waking up to the nightmare and realizing that a lot of this is what's happening in your life. You've kind of helped to create it because of that difficulty, but because of that need to control it. Again, it feels like the more you tried to control it, the more you lost it, the more it kind of moved further away from you in the opposite direction. And you're kind of it feels like you're looking into this on a deeper level as well. You're not happy about it. I wouldn't say that you're content about this. I wouldn't say that it's something that you're enjoying. Not enjoying this at all is what's coming through here. There's like a real kind of it does feel like a wake-up call. Like this, you see here all these kind of swords are pointing down at her head. And because it's in reverse as well, it's almost like, for me, I see it as you recognizing that this is you kind of impaling yourself on these swords. It's like, you know, you've brought this situation on, Aries, and you're kind of having to take a deeper look at it, because you got the Moon card at the very center. So you're like trying to find the pieces and fit them all together, but it is a nightmare. You're having trouble, you're struggling. It's not an easy situation that you're finding yourself in. But interestingly, what came through for me with this Moon card was the story of the Indian, the Native American story about the two wolves inside. Like a young boy asked his grandfather about these two wolves that he felt were inside him. If I'm getting this story correct. And he asked him which one was strongest, or which one would win the battle of these two. Like, one represents the kind of negative energy and one represents the more positive energy. And the grandfather's reply was, whichever one you feed. Which is how I'm seeing this coming through. Like, one is much wilder, one is much more, and that could also be these two extremes as well, going from one extreme to the other, like maybe wild parties and kind of wanting to possibly have freedom at the same time as trying to have a relationship. That kind of energy, like it's like one or the other, but not being able to kind of bring them both together and have some kind of balance. That's just kind of scenario for it. That's kind of how I'm trying to explain it, that there's the two extremes of something. It could also be the person that you have been dealing with, or it could be your own energy, Aries. Or it could be, because this could also be to do with family situations, friends. This is a general read. Because it's a general read as well, I would just say it's not going to resonate with everybody. But again, with this moon energy, I feel as though you're, because here as well, you've got the moon in the background here. And I feel as though on some level you may be feeling as though you're being kept in the dark, that you're not being given all information that you need about something, which is also possibly why it's making it such a nightmare, and why you are feeling as though you're possibly even kind of going a bit insane, bonkers, not being able to know for definite if what you're feeling is actually, or thinking is actually, the reality of something, or whether you are just kind of making it up. Is that actually how it is, or was, or, but you're not being, at this time, for some of you, not being given all the information that's needed. It's being clouded, covered over, but you are also at the same time going deeper into your subconscious. So it's like you're coming out in a way of this kind of thinking. Everything is very logical. Everything's got to make sense. And yet on an emotional, it's like saying on an emotional level, you need to go deeper, which is what this waterfall is saying for me here, between these two. And interestingly as well, there's a dog in this card here. The dog represents like friendship and companionship and loyalty. But there's this kind of, I feel as though there's this need, the water is kind of saying go with the flow again, go with the flow, go deeper. Go deeper, don't just look at the surface level of this. Don't just stick with the logic. That there's more to this that you need to uncover, or that needs to yet be revealed. So don't try, and maybe that's also why it's saying take a backward step. Don't try to control this, because where you're coming from at this time, you're not in a good headspace, and you're not coming from a place of having all the information that you need in order to make a valid judgment call on it. It's also how it's coming through. And with the King of Coins after this, I feel as though you're in a situation where you're actually kind of wanting to shut yourself away at this time as well. Not so much hermit, but it's like you're, how can I put it? It's like you're not wanting anybody else to interfere, is how it's kind of coming through for me here. It's like my castle, my rules, my domain. I'm going to be very careful about who crosses over the threshold of my castle. The King of Coins can be very, very open and very likes to give when he's in the upright position, but when he's in the opposite and reversed, he's very stubborn. He's very it's just coming through as this kind of sense of how can I put it? They're just really wanting to have your own space. It just feels like this need for your own space, your own environment. Without interference is what's coming through for me. Without outside interference. So we'll see what happens. But after the King of Coins in your future to be, we have the Hangman. So that's quite interesting because I'm seeing this as these two pillars of light here. It's also these two towers here. You can see them like two turrets. And I kind of see it as you standing on top of your domain, if you like, or your castle, kind of looking out over your, this is figuratively, but kind of like, you know, what is yours, what isn't yours, in the sense of, I would say, friends as well. Because the king is very much about kind of ownership, possession, values. But I'm also seeing it as these two, as I was saying, these two tower type turret things here as also being these two beams of light here with this hangman. And it is about this sense of, or it is going to be about this sense of you again, like taking that backward step. Which is what I feel that this King of Coins is saying as well. It's not about you being strong, is what's coming through here as well. Like wanting to, how can I put it, wanting to show that you're strong in this when really you're feeling very kind of drained and weak. But you're, if this was up the right way, I would say that, you know, that's a good position. You are in a place of strength, but you're not in a place of strength here because it is reversed. So with the hangman, it's saying take that step back, give yourself some time to rethink things through, allow yourself to see things in a different way, to get a different perspective on something, to see things clearer, for things to, and this kind of, there's a clockwork kind of mechanism as well here that he's almost kind of attached to, but also this here looks like this kind of clockwork world or planet. And it's kind of coming through for me as this like timing. Like it's not the right time, and you've got to kind of come to terms with that within yourself. That there needs to be more time here, and the time needs to be for you. It's your time. You need to find yourself, is what's coming through here. That by taking that step back, you're going to be able to come from this energy of being more open. Because at the moment I feel as though you're very guarded. Maybe that's also what this is saying here. Very guarded. Because we have the Eight of Swords here as well. And the Eight of Swords often talks of a situation where we create our own prison in our mind. We create situations where we just go over the same thing time and time again. It's like going round and round and kind of thinking that we've got to the end of something or a conclusion of something, but in fact we're just going back to the start, and we're just allowing that same pattern to repeat over and over. But interestingly, what's coming through for me here is the fact that she, again, it's in reverse, but she's kind of climbing through this. It's a bubble. It's like it's a bubble. It's not even got any real form to it. So these swords here are coming down and they're kind of piercing through it, but the bubble's staying in place because you are so kind of convinced that this is the way it is. And I feel that that's got a lot to do with this energy here as well, the not really having all the information. Feeling like you're going round and round in this kind of self-created prison, which is really very fragile. It's like a very fragile energy, and you could actually be feeling this yourself. You could be feeling very fragile, that you're needing that time away. But the swords is about the mind, and it is about getting trapped in this, as I was saying, this mindset and negativity as well, like allowing the negative side to feed into this bubble, keeping this idea about something that you've got very kind of firmly fixed in your mind, that's kind of, you're very guarded, making you very guarded because you believe it is the way that you perceive it, but the way you perceive it isn't actually correct because you don't have all the information. So you're coming from a place of not fully understanding the bigger picture. And it's creating a lot of sorrow and sadness and remorse. And again, I'm seeing this more as your energy, like this cup is sitting here for you. It's like he can quite easily reach out and take this cup. It's there waiting, but because it's in reverse, along with this here as well, it's like you can just, I know it's easy to say you can, but there is a way out of this bubble. There is a way to get out of this situation, which you believe yourself to be trapped in or caught up in, or that you're never going to see the end of it. But this to me is saying that this cup here that is being offered for yourself. It's like a cup of love for you. And I don't feel as though it's being offered from somebody else. It's like you need to, I feel, offer this cup to yourself. It's time to offer this cup of love to yourself here, Aries. But for some reason I feel as though you're reluctant to take it. Or don't feel that you deserve it. Don't feel that it's yours to take, or that you have the right to have that love. So let's see what the confirmation cards here would like to say. The Ace of Coins is on the bottom of the deck here, saying that there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity, a new opportunity for you here. And maybe that's also part of this cup energy as well, this opportunity to take care of your own inner worth. Your own happiness is what's coming through here as well. Rather than looking for it outside of yourself, Aries. It's kind of saying take it from within, because it is within. You will find it within. Another thing I was going to say as well about these swords, which kind of also have a similar kind of, it's like an energetic energy. It's like it's not real, it's not physical, it's not actually like a prison that you are actually physically in. It's just like this mental idea of a prison cell, of feeling trapped. It's like it is that you can change it to light rather than the darkness that you feel that you're caught up in. So let's see what the Temperance energy would like to say for Aries, Sun, Moon, Venus, rising. Aries energy. The Ten of Pentacles. So I do feel as though at one point it was very fulfilling. There was something that was very fulfilling, very satisfying, very happy, go lucky. It could also have involved family, but it was very nourishing as well. And there was something very nourishing about it. Everything was good, like Rosie in the garden. Everything was full and happy and successful. It felt like a successful period of time in your life, like you'd achieved what you wanted to achieve. And maybe that was the problem. Maybe it was something to do with you kind of stopped growing, stopped allowing anything else to come from that. It was maybe a very stagnant, what was a very healthy, fulfilling, vibrant situation became stagnant and stopped flowing, stopped being so vibrant and full of I want to say like all the good things of life. some of you that could have been in your childhood. That could have been something to do with a family situation, a mother and a father maybe. Perhaps it was a divorce for some of you. Or your parents may have parted. And that whatever it was that made you feel good. The situation, it feels like the situation changed. And it feels as though it's very abrupt as well, very sudden, with the Chariot energy there. Almost like overnight. Things went from being a happy home to being, some of you it doesn't necessarily have to be childhood, this could actually be something that you yourself are experiencing. You may be going through a divorce, there may be children involved. So let's see please why the Chariot is here. What is the message for the Chariot, please? Message for the Chariot. Doesn't want to give me any more messages. Hey, there we go. Yeah, the Devil energy. That's what I was saying about interference. It feels as though something came in. Something came in to that energy. Something that felt like a darkness. It felt like, and I feel as though this is partly what you have not got the full picture on, that you're not understanding. Because this is over the top of the Chariot. This is what caused this to go in the opposite direction or to completely stop. There's this Devil energy. It could also be fear as well, because the Devil can talk about our own inner fears. It could also be somebody acting like a devil, in the sense of not taking responsibility for their family, for their home life. This is kind of what I was feeling earlier with this Chariot, somebody who was wanting it all, somebody who would go from one extreme to the other, so that could also have been kind of toxic. There could be addictions involved in it as well, which is interesting, because I do kind of see this energy as an addictive energy as well here, with these kind of swords all pointing down. They look to me like what are they called? Like vaccinations kind of thing. Can't think, my brain's gone dead. I can't think what the word for them is called. Needles. They look like needles. Just call it needles. And so this could also kind of represent that energy of a kind of addiction to pain, to personal, like to pain, to your own personal pain. You've become addicted to it. It's because it's kind of part of your childhood or part of your upbringing, something that you've had to live around and kind of experience. So now there's this kind of element of that's what you're expecting. In a situation, which is also possibly why you're not happy about accepting this cup here as well, which is for yourself, as I was saying earlier. And it's not about accepting it from somebody else. This is about you being good to you, being kind to you. So let's see why the Ten of Cups is here. But yeah, as I was saying earlier about the Chariot going from one extreme to the next extreme, is how I'm kind of seeing this card. It could also be somebody who you trusted, who turned out not to be trustworthy, somebody who entered the family dynamic possibly and upset things, with the Ten of Pentacles energy there as well. I also feel that that's what the Moon card is saying as well, getting to the bottom of something and not understanding it fully. Particularly if this happened as a child, because you're seeing it from a child's eye point of view, which is possibly why you're going to go into this Hanging Man energy, to try and see it from a different perspective, with more a sense of releasing and letting go. Maybe that's also why I got the stop controlling earlier as well. For some of you, not all of you, but for some of you, it could literally be like a drug addiction that you're trying to release yourself from. And it's got a strong grip. Whatever this situation is, the energy has got a strong grip on you, Aries, and it is affecting your present. In the sense that it keeps, I feel, repeating patterns for you of unhappiness, things that you think are going to be good to start with, tend to lose that glow, that shine, that radiance, that happiness. That love at the center. And a lot of that is because there is confusion around this as well for you. And it makes you guarded. And we have the Ten of Wands as well. So 2 tens on either side, the Devil in the middle. 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands. The only one that's missing is the 10 of Swords, but you do have the 9 and the 8. So the 10 of Wands card here for me is about a very kind of chaotic energy. There's a lot of chaos. And I also feel as though you felt as though you weren't being seen in this particular card, because he's kind of, or you're trying to hide from something. you maybe didn't want to be seen, or you're not being seen. Ten of Wands is burdens. It's like carrying a lot of things, which could be this past history and past energy that you're still carrying. You're still carrying this burden, and it causes a lot of chaos in your life because of it. And I also feel as though it causes a lot of kind of like frustration and possibly outbursts of anger as well. But because it's a 10, it's kind of saying it's time to let it all go, which is what the 10s are all about. 10s are about endings. It's about coming to the finality of something. So it's time to let this go and move beyond it. But first of all, I do feel that you need to go deeper. And it's only by going deeper that you will find the mechanism to release it. Like finding the core of it. In order to be able to reach the center, the point of where it all began. And we have the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Swords in reverse over the top of the Nine of Swords. So there is a lot of, when I say mental energy, I mean like mind, thought, fear energy here. You've got the Ace of Swords, which again is that, it's that cycle, it's that kind of, because you keep kind of bringing it back, you keep kind of bringing it into your space, and so it kind of starts again, and your fear becomes reality in a way. And you're forever having to kind of it feels like you feel as though you're forever having to kind of stand your ground. If you see there, he's standing right on the very edge of this kind of very snowy cliff, and he's being attacked by this large goose or swan, and it's got teeth. It's a very kind of vicious looking, ferocious looking beast, and it's upside down, so I feel as though you feel like this beast, shall we say, is kind of representing all of that negative energy, and it feels as though you feel that the beast has more control over the situation than you have over it, which is why it keeps coming back round. Like with the Ace energy, the Ace of Swords, the clarity about something, but then it kind of, it's like maybe each time it comes back round you kind of learn a little bit more about it, or understand something a bit clearer. But with the fact that the Ace is kind of, the sword is still stuck in the snow here, I feel as though it's a bit like, you know, Arthur's sword. You haven't kind of taken it out of the ground yet, so you're not in control of it, shall we say. You're not able to completely defeat the beast yet. kind of how it's coming through. You feel as though the beast is still got control over you. So, why is the moon energy here? The moon energy being the centre. As I was saying earlier, it's kind of the place that I feel where the rest of the reading kind of comes out from and goes into. So it's an interesting card to have there, because it is that kind of deeper subconscious, which can also relate to our fears, our not knowing. You have the Six of Swords over the top of the moon as well, and again it's in reverse. Six of Swords often talks about kind of leaving a situation and moving on to another situation, but I feel because it's in reverse, you're stuck on one side of the bridge. Sorry, I haven't even seen the card yet. The bridge here that is kind of bridging your past and your future, where you need to get to kind of release all of this negative energy. But at this time, because the card is in reverse, you're not ready to move over that bridge. And that could be because, like I was saying, that you still don't have all the answers. You still don't have all the reasonings behind and the knowledge of what actually took place or how something happened that's brought this situation into your life that keeps repeating over and over again. And I do feel that, like, up to now, it's kind of like I was saying about these two sides of the personality. It almost feels like you've been feeding that kind of more negative, wolf-like, wilder, and you're doing it as a protection. It's like a protection for yourself, because then nobody can actually get to hurt you, even though it does. They still do. But in your head, you're thinking, like, I can protect myself from this by and again, I think this is, I'm not saying that this is a deliberate thing. This is like a subconscious. This is like something that's on a much deeper level, that's just kind of so got used to being, that you're now just, it just happens automatically. It's like who you believe you are. But it's saying go deeper. Go deeper. There's also butterflies here as well, so it does talk about a transformation. There is a transformation potential here for transformation. It's like not everything is set in stone. You can choose, as I was saying, you can choose which one you're going to feed out of this wolf and this dog. Of course, a wolf is very much a loner as well. It's a lone, that's what it's known as, the lone wolf. So it could also be, Aries, that you have got so used to being that kind of lone wolf person who's kind of very dependent on themselves and wants to continue being dependent on themselves. Pardon me, sorry about that. But at the same time really wants to have somebody in their life. Really wants to have this connection with somebody and feel what it's really like. actually know somebody on that depth of level. But at the moment you keep holding that back. For fear, more than anything else. Okay, so the Seven of Wands is very similar to me with the Six of Wands, in the sense that this is about kind of trying to leap across something. You can see this figure here. He's kind of trying to leap from one side to the next. Usually the Seven of Wands is seen as a card of guarding something, guarding yourself. I'm also seeing it as kind of trying not to fall into this big hole down here, like this kind of whirlpool that's opened up down here. If you put it that way up, it's more like a sun in the background, a kind of sunset sun, if you like. But when it's up that way, I kind of see it as this kind of whirlpool of kind of dragging things down into it. And it feels like you're trying to kind of leap over these I mean, they're stumps of trees. It's kind of like these stumps of trees to get to the other side of something. Again, that's why I said that it feels very similar to the Six of Wands energy, Swords energy at the moment, sorry, about trying to get to the other side. Like, it's like you want to get past this, you want to get beyond it, you want to leave that in the past. It's not that you're happy being the way that you are, or behaving the way that you have to, or feel that you have to. Because the Seven of Wands is about guarding, and it's come out over the top of the King of Coins as well, which I was saying, it feels very guarded to me, like you're kind of guarding your energy, your environment. And the Seven of Wands is very much a similar energy. It's like having to what's the word? Having to justify yourself, or this is how you feel. You feel as though you have to justify who you are and standing up for what you believe. But there is a lot of confusion around it all. So it feels as though you're not even really sure what you do and don't believe anymore, Aries. But it's very it's all very misty and hazy and kind of just not very clear to you. And also with the Seven of Wands upside down as well, there could also be this energy of you don't even know anymore what it is that you are defending or standing up for, or like that part of yourself. Why do you keep kind of defending that energy when it's actually not helping you? This kind of defensive side of your own personality, if you like, that's not actually helping you to feel good about yourself. And over the top of the Hangman, we have the High Priestess, but she is also in reverse. The Hangman's up the right way, but the High Priestess is in reverse. So that's two very powerful kind of intuitive, very Piscean, very subconscious energies together there. You've got both of the kind of subconscious and the moon as well. So it's talking to me about really going to a depth that you've not been to, possibly ever before, to really kind of try and get to the very core, the very center of this, to really trust your journey. And that might be difficult because you've got all this logical stuff up here that you're going to have to try and release and kind of work through and let go. So it is like that battle. That literally is what I'm feeling. It's like this battle between these two, because this kind of, for me, represents all that sword energy. And this represents the more kind of mellow, creative wand energy in a way, but your intuition. So this is, okay, so this is who you want to be, but this is who you keep kind of feeding, shall we say, as I was saying earlier, that story, whichever one you feed. So the more that you feed into that storyline, the more you keep that fear-based and negative view about yourself. And the moon again is in the background here. Interestingly, there is also kind of a tree type thing growing out of this moon as well, so it is talking to me about growth as well, but also possibly stunted growth, like that there's something that has stopped you from being able to mature fully because of this situation. Almost like emotionally you still come from that same energy of when this happened in your life. So when you find yourself in emotional situations, you revert back to that same time period in your life of when it happened to you. Whether you're aware that that's happening or not, Aries. You're probably not aware because it all seems to be coming from your deep subconscious. So you may find this battle between your kind of conscious, logical thinking mind and your intuitive kind of knowing what's best for you mind. Because the High Priestess is in. And you've also got the Hierophant as well, because the High Priestess is in reverse. It's like it's not going to be it's not going to be easy for you to just accept what you're feeling because you've covered it up for so long. So you're going to have to, like I feel the Hangman energy is going to be something that you may find you're in this energy for quite some time. That it's going to be quite a long-lasting energy for you. Of kind of feeling that the world has stopped, that nothing's really moving. Or that you're taking yourself out of the picture. And the Hierophant has come out up the right way over the top of the Eight of Swords. The Hierophant is about our idea of faith. It can be religion. It can be order. Kind of trying to have things orderly in our life. It represents the very masculine energy of... So I'm just taking a deeper look at this because it looks like, oh, that's interesting. I've not seen that before. That key has just jumped out at me. There is a key right there. And there's something about this bubble as well, like as I was saying earlier. And it's like the key lies within yourself. The key to your own what was that? The key to your own escape. Key to your own escape lies within yourself. But it's going to take faith to get you there. Faith in yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be faith from an outside source. It can be. But I feel as though this is really talking about faith about yourself, having enough faith in yourself to be able to achieve this. And you realizing that you are both the lock and the key in many ways, that you can unlock yourself. You have that within you, which is why you need to go into this kind of deeper place to find it, because it is there waiting for you. Whew. Okay. Also that you have the strength to do it as well, because there is a bull there, often kind of Taurus energy. This is always seen as the Taurus card. Personally, I'm not really down with that one, but the Hierophant, there is a bull in this, and there's a star in between those horns as well, so it's kind of saying your guiding star. Kind of guide yourself, be guided by your own faith and trust in yourself. That you can that's all I'm being told. You can, that you can, and that's it, just that you can. And we have the Lovers come out as your last card, upside down. So that's interesting, because I feel as though there's going to be a realization that this is about you. This is not about an outside source kind of solving your problems or your issues for you. That you're not going to find the answer within somebody else. That first of all, you need to find this answer within you. That you need to be able to take this cup for yourself in order for you to be able to give it to somebody else. If you can't give it to yourself first, you won't be able to find somebody to give it to on a happiness level, on a level of something that is long lasting and coming from a place of, I want to say integrity, honesty, of knowing each other, trust again is coming through. So it's all about this journey for you, Aries. I'm going to pull you an Abraham Hicks card. I haven't used these for a while. If you don't know who Abraham and Esther Hicks and Jerry Hicks are, there's lots of information out there. You just put in the words Abraham, and in fact it might be really helpful for you to do so, because it's very, very positive energy, very positive, and it can really kind of turn things around and make your life very, very different. And maybe just the kind of help that you might need at this time, Aries, if you're going through a really, which it feels like here, it feels like this is quite a heavy, in-depth, psychological healing process, but very painful. Yeah, painful, but it's not like pain. It's like deeper pain, realization. I feel like you yourself are going to go to places that you've not been for a long time. When I say that, I mean like not physically, but emotionally within yourself. So Abraham is saying, I will never cease being or desiring. That's kind of interesting, because I see this goose. It's just come out as this kind of the opposite of this one here, or this white bird. It could be a dove, but it's like again that kind of dual energy here, the two sides. So you will never cease to be. New desires will be constantly born within you. Source will never stop answering your desires, and your expansion is therefore eternal. And so you may begin to relax if in this moment there is something you desire that has not yet come to fruition. Which is interesting again, because first card, the lizard spirit here, is kind of saying relax, take a backward step, don't try to control or force anything. Kind of allow things, that's kind of what I'm feeling, allow things to rise to the surface naturally. You may want to kind of force the process, but if you do, it's I feel that if you do that, it will somehow make it harder. It will make it more difficult. I'm just going to pull a quick crystal card for you as well. And see which crystal might be good for you to work with at this time, Aries. While you're going through this. So a crystal card, please, for Aries at this time. What would be the best crystal for Aries at this time, Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising, Aries energy. Crystal card for Aries, Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising. Crystal card for Aries, please. Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising energy. So I do want to say, cross watchers, as well, that if you are watching this and you're thinking that it's all your fault, all your problem, if you are involved with somebody who's going through something like this, through this situation, then just be aware that it isn't you, that it is something that they are trying to deal with within themselves. Or alternatively, if you're watching this as an Aries, but it's resonating for somebody that you're in a, or have been connected to, then whoops, that's far too many. Then just be aware that it's not your story that I'm talking about. It could be the other person. So we have Amethyst, Divine Consciousness, one of my favourite quartz crystals. I love amethyst. Divine Consciousness. So let's see what it says for you, Aries, or Aries cross watcher. So the chakra that it works through is the crown chakra, and the colour is purple. And it says your link to the divine is close at hand. It is not in some remote region of the heavens as you suspect. It is within each of you. Hierophant energy is kind of that divine consciousness. And also the high priestess as well, being able to accept that within, rather than something outside of you. You are never far away from divine guidance, for it is a part of you. You are the divine, a spark of all-knowingness that permeates the universe. You are connected to a web of light that flows throughout the universe. It is part of every creature, familiar or alien. In your own right, you are powerful. When you merge with the source, you have the full authority and wisdom of the universe at your disposal. Throughout time, we and the other kingdoms have used signals of communication to reach out to you, our human brothers and sisters. One of these is colour, another sound. The language of both is based on the vibrational frequency it transmits, touching into the human psyche in a particular way. In the human body, colour, sound and all vibration is filtered through and registered in the chakra system. If you don't know about the chakra system, again, you can look that up online. Lots of information out there about chakra system. We are a tool for accessing divine consciousness. We work with the crown chakra in drawing cosmic energy into the body to be used on the physical plane. Within meditation, if held in the hand or placed on top of the head, we can help open this chakra. There is nothing magical about this process. Vibrational frequencies are keys. Interesting. Keys. Perhaps that's what this is talking about. Keys to changing your vibrational frequency. They can unlock rooms to the self that have been long forgotten. You may not be aware that these treasure vaults are inside you. Now you have access, you have safeguarded the riches within until a time when you could make the best use of them. Now is the time. just have a quick look. If you have drawn a card today, it is time to realise that divine consciousness is your birthright, no less than the ancient divine right of kings. It is a limitless source of power that you may tap into. Are you aware of these special resources at your disposal? I was personally once told, it's not actually in this book, but I was personally once told that I should wear amethyst, especially around other people, because it helps to protect from people trying to drain your energy. So if you're in a situation where you have to be around people and you're not feeling great yourself already, you can wear a piece of amethyst. It doesn't really matter what size it is, as long as you kind of have a piece of amethyst on you. So Aries, at this time, it may be a really good idea for you to, if you have a piece of amethyst, to wear it. If you don't have a piece of amethyst, maybe buy yourself a small piece of amethyst. I believe, again, you can buy it online. Many different places will sell amethyst. So it might be a good idea to get yourself a piece at this time, because I do feel as though you're possibly needing it to open up something within yourself. It is the colour known as the colour of kings for a reason, to do with the purple energy coming through the higher crown chakra energy. So maybe this is what it's saying to you, Aries, that there's a higher energy waiting there on a vibrational level to open itself up to you, and for you to open yourself up to it. And on that, I'm going to finish the actual reading and say thank you very much for watching my reading and listening to what I have to say. If you have found it of any interest, or you've learned anything from it today, could you please thumbs it up for me, because that really helps to get it out onto the bigger YouTube algorithm picking up kind of world, where it can then go into other people's kind of recommended, which really helps videos. The more thumbs up we get, which is why we always, like, YouTube creators constantly go on about thumbsing up the videos, because it does make a huge difference to get them out there as well. So if you know anybody who you think may appreciate or benefit from this video as well, please pass it on to them. Please share it with those who you feel may find some benefit from it, some help, some guidance somewhere, something that might just help them understand something a bit better. Also, there is a subscribe button on my video as well, so if you want to subscribe to my channel, that would be great. I would love to have you here, as I am trying to build my channel. I have been away for a while. I had Saturn, Mercury, Mars square, so that wasn't great. I kind of just decided to give into it and just not try and battle it, and kind of, so I just hibernated basically for about 3 months. So now feels like a really good time to be back and doing it. So all the videos will be put out soon. I'm doing all zodiac signs, all the full moon and the new moon videos will be out as well. Sorry, my nose is feeling a bit runny at the moment. So as I was saying, yep, the subscribe button, if you want to subscribe, it's there. That would be great. And also, I'm sure there's something else. I always go through this bit and then I go, I wish I'd said that. So I'm just going to leave it at that, because I can't think of anything else at this moment in time, except to say thank you very much again for watching me. And please take really good care of yourselves at this time, Aries. I really do hope that it has been of some help to you, and that you will have found some help within it. And hopefully I will see you again next time soon. Take care.